Hello, dear viewers. Welcome back to another Dream Entry ASMR. Okay, so this time I wanted to do something different. I've been doing a lot of my dreams recently. I've done several now. I'd say like 20 or 24 of them, I think, now. I've done like 3 dream entry compilations, but I wanted to do some other people's dreams, and tell some other people's dreams, and I'd gotten on this other subreddit and asked for people's permission on telling some of their dreams. But I wanted to go ahead, because I have a few of them saved here that I wanted to do. I'm going into Reddit. By the way, if you would like to post your own dreams, get onto my subreddit, r// uppercase patches _ dream and then _ entries, and it'll hopefully take you to my page, and I'll probably most likely provide the link in case anybody wants to get on there. Maybe that'll help people to discover it, because I've tried to look that up on Reddit myself, and I've noticed that I can't get into it, or I can't find it for some reason. So I'll provide the link in case anybody wants to get on there and post their dreams. But I have a few queued up here that I've saved. I have one here that's really interesting. I wanted to talk about, because it's fairly long and it's a very detailed dream. But it's by Pumpkin Pie Official, or Pumpkin _ Pie _ Official is the user here. And I'll provide a summary after, but it's just a fascinating dream. But okay. Long post. Apologies if there are any spelling mistakes. A couple months ago, I managed to remember a particular dream I had, which was sort of dystopian. Then I had another that was set in the same world. Then another, and so on. In a nutshell, it was a hybrid of Mortal Engines, Snowpiercer, and Mad Max all together. There were 3 dreams, but it was more like 4 as one dream. It had 2 parts in total that I experienced. Each one had some connection to the last, either by the exact same world features, crucial events, or references to previous dreams. I was able to remember all of them in vivid detail just because of how intricate it was. I find that the more detailed the dreams are, the more likely I am to remember them. This post is an entire ramble on how the world worked, because that's literally how detailed it was. It was a surreal experience. I also remember writing down notes on what I remembered and drew the train I encountered in Dream 1 and 2. As for the world, it's a world of trains. The world's surface was barren in some places. like a desert. The setting of the first and second dream. Some parts had marshes and forest. The setting of the third dream, and others had snowy mountain ranges. Setting of the fourth dream. Each city was a huge train station. As in, a huge station. Imagine like a really big oil rig with architecture similar to the Kowloon's walled city. With the size of an actual city, they were elevated by pillars with stairs coiling around them. The suspension wires ran all around the bottom and the edges of the city. They were embedded in the ground below. The orientation of the wires varied with each city. An example was the station on a cliffside. It had its wires run from the edge of the station to the cliffside, and others from the edge of the city to the sides and bottom, keeping it attached. All the stations had huge hangar-like openings for the trains, accompanied by rails that stretched several highways wide. They were called harbors. Not the entire station, just the part where the trains came and went. The stations were still called stations, though it was common for people to just call the stations without saying the word station, like this is X instead of this is X station. Moving on, the stations were so big to the point that they had highways to connect one part of the station to the other. Additionally, the stations had trains. They had smaller trains that ran from one sector to the other, like the highways. It was literally a city on 4 pillars. Well, 4 pillars and several suspension cables. The higher levels of the stations I saw looked very Victorian, like Victorian age stuff, while the levels below looked more mechanical, but nonetheless populated with apartments, businesses, marketplaces, etc. All illuminated by the lights on the metal ceiling, a natural light if you were near the edges of the station. The harbor of the station I saw was similar to King's Cross Station, with a translucent window arch, but the panels were more dusty and worn out. Additionally, the dream was detailed enough to include named stations. There were definitely more, but these were the ones that were mentioned. The Ark, mentioned, seen in Dream 1 and 2. Cliffside, mentioned, and briefly seen in Dream 3. Timekeeper's Peak, mentioned in Dream 3. Rustville, mentioned in Dreams 1, 2, and 3. Blue Guardian, mentioned in Dream 3. Moving on to the trains, they were called colonies, and they were almost as huge as the stations themselves. Of course, being smaller, but each train was several meters high, as tall as a small skyscraper, and was able to accommodate the size of a small city. Each car was a different town or village, and they were connected together by massive tube-like structures, similar to what you'll see on a commuter train or a subway station. The towns made up the sides of the trains, with the small apartments attached or sticking out the sides. Pipes and maintenance systems ran like roots all over the train and its cars. They even had some sort of street network. No highways, though. The biggest of the trains accommodated were 2-way roads. Each time a train arrived, the process of getting on board was like an immigration check. You had to have several documents just to get on board. As for the boarding, uploading, unloading process, the train stopped at one station for about 4 months before going again. During that time, the train would resupply, trade, and provide resources to the station. The trains, too, were named, but no individual train was named. Only the classes they belonged to. Named classes are as follows. Yes, I actually remembered these because they sounded cool. Wanderer class. Train that was seen in Dream 1 and 2. Citadel class. Mentioned in Dreams 1 and 2. Nameless class. Mentioned in Dreams 1 and 2. Fortitude class. Mentioned in Dreams 1 and 2. Moving to resource collection, there were several stations that provided resources, and having its own scouting harvesting parties looking for different stuff. One in Forest harvested wood and metal, and another in the Arctic harvested all sorts of minerals, but all of them had to gather food and water. Those who were universal. The stations used the trains to conduct trade, both with the train and with other stations. If they wanted to deliver something directly to another station, they used airships. The airships themselves were nothing special, but it was the people on board that were. The crew of the airships wore attire similar to that of Victorian traders, or the assassins from Assassin's Creed Unity Syndicate, except for the fact that they had a jetpack. The jetpacks looked like small Horton Ho 229s that were attached to the user's back. The wigs of the jet were capable of folding like the wings of an F-14 Tomcat. They did this for speed. Or, if the packs were to be stored, apparently there's also a thing called Sky Raiders that board the airship and steal cargo before taking off again. The jetpacks were sometimes used to pursue the raiders if they tried to escape. According to sources from the Dream, being a trader was a dangerous line of trade. Yes, they made this pun. It was in the third Dream. I apologize for that. My air kicked on and I wanted to turn it off before continuing, because it's pretty noisy in here. Okay, continuing on. As for politics, there wasn't much explaining in terms of politics, because dreams being dreams, and Dream me already knew what was going on, even though real me didn't actually know, and thus I had no idea how politics worked. However, there was definitely an ongoing war somewhere. I remember having a huge portion of the combat being done in the air with massive ironclad airships. There were ground forces too, but they weren't really expanded on as much as the airships were. Yes, the airships had classes, but only one was mentioned, the Charger class, or Destroyer, mentioned and seen in Dream 4. Moving on to the Dreams. Dreams 1 and 2 consisted of 2 parts, thus the 1 and 2 part 1 consisted of me driving along the roads inside the trains. The road I was driving on was on the side of the train itself. It had a tube protecting the inside so that the cars don't get blown away. I was driving on that road, then back inside the train via an opening in the side. After entering the train, I was now driving on an elevated road. Below the road was a slum community with a big central marketplace. The roof of the train car was a circular window that functioned as a clock, with big brass arms extended from the center. They had a different color from the gears so that they were easier to see. If a resident wanted to know what time it was, they simply had to look up. I kept driving till I reached the surface, which showed the Victorian aesthetics I talked about. But in the central town square was the clock window. From the bottom it looked flat, but seeing it on the surface, the center was more like a signpost, with signs pointing to which street was which. The arms of the clock was still visible, but it was under a glass pane. But at least at the time was still visible if you looked at it from above. Part 1 ended with me just about to take the turn to leave the town square, but this dream gave me insight into how the trains functioned. Part 2 gave me info on how both the world and the trains. Part 2 started off with me looking out the window and seeing the world outside. It was a desert with a few structures sticking out, some abandoned and some active. One had a small airship anchored near it. In summary, Part 2 was mostly considered of me wandering about in the train's residential area, then to the so-called harbors, where the dream ended. This part was the part where I got info dumped on how the stations worked, what the train classes were, how to get on board, get off, the names of the stations, etc. In that part, I remember the story being that I was migrating to a new station from my old one, and I took the huge train to get there. I wanted to get everything right for a smooth trip and processing, hence why I got info dumped. Most of the details I learned were already explained in the paragraphs above. Dream 3. This dream happened around a week after Dreams 1 and 2. It was the one that explained to me how interstation trade worked, as I was placed in the crew of a trade airship. Since again, most of the things I learned I already info dumped above, I'm just going to summarize it. It starts with the crew boarding the ship, along with several other crews assigned to different stations. But our destination was Cliffside, since it was the closest to our station. Sadly, I didn't know that station's name, nor did I find out. This was also the moment where another crew member, and the one I mentioned. The next few moments were the launching of the airship through an opening roof and just somewhat smooth sailing. But the reason I explained the jetpacks and the Sky Raiders was because of this dream. We got attacked by another small airship that boarded ours and took a few cities of our cargo. It took a few crates of our cargo, my apologies. So we decided to retaliate. Jetpacks came into play here as I, along with some others, were outfitted with one. We launched off of the airship and gave chase to our attackers, though the airship was faster and going in a straight line when compared to the jetpack. The Raiders' airship was busy with maneuvering to get away. We fought in both ranged combat when they tried to hit us with anti-air guns, as well as ranged onboard fighting and melee combat when we eventually boarded the ship and decided for close quarters combat. I remember a specific moment where I took off the jetpack and used it as some sort of big rocket-propelled boomerang club. I mean, it did hit a guy, but I was surprised it didn't break. Afterwards, we reclaimed our stuff by counterboarding the airship and went on our merry way. The dream then cut to when we finally reached Cliffside. It ended right when we were about to land the ship in its hangar. Dream 4. This one was the shortest among all the dreams and occurred around a month after Dream 3. This dream explained more about what was going on in the world. More specifically, it focused on the war that was going on. Our strike group consisted of 3 units of the previously mentioned Charger-class destroyer airships. The mission assigned to us was the assault of an artillery outpost on an excavated mountain top. We were to charge headfirst into the artillery position so that they focused fire on us instead of the troops below. The airships that were used were heavily modified with more armor, since according to the brief, the artillery position had been bombarding us for months. And since big ships couldn't get through, they hoped we could. The airships were loaded, and in a moment we were off. The landscape below was beautiful as it was chaotic. There was a battle shore, but the terrain was a mix of desert, sand, grass, and snow. Those 3 collided at the base of a mountain range. The desert intersected the snowy grass at the base, with some even on the face of the mountain range itself, creating a unique mix of sand and snow. Circling back, I remember everyone being nervous. I don't blame them. Nor, and dream me, you'd be insane if you weren't nervous. You were assaulting a fortified position that even the big ships couldn't deal with. What could you, or a 3-destroyer fleet, could do? A lot. The answer was a lot. I remember the battle starting when we were intercepted by a few squadrons of enemy planes. The planes looked similar to World War I planes, but some had more modern World War II designs. The scenery was chaotic. Bullets were flying everywhere. The airships were starting to smoke, and sparks from countless ricochets flew left and right. We defended for as long as we could as we approached the mountain range at a low altitude, racing at full throttle before the fighters shot us out of the sky. We eventually reached the mountain base, and all 3 ships pulled up as hard as they could, each trailing back a thick layer of black smoke because of how much damage we sustained. And still the bullets flew. We eventually reached the top and delivered our payloads. Several positions went in flames. I remember feeling thrilled because we did it. We did what the other couldn't. However, the damage was still being taken. The fighters were still in the air, and we held our ground. The dream ended with a plane dropping an aerial torpedo at my airship, exploding at the starboard side, causing me and the crew inside to be shaken. I remember passing out with ringing in my ear, slowly starting to recover, but that was then when I suddenly woke up. That was where it ended, leaving the fate of the 3-destroyer fleet unknown. After each of those dreams happened, I quickly wrote down all that I remembered from the dreams, and thanks to its uniqueness, I was able to remember a lot. I also remembered to write the notes almost immediately after waking up, so as to not get hit by the "what was the dream about again" event, since I already wanted to remember those experiences and all that lore. I'm still fascinated on how those forest dreams were so jam-packed with lore. And that is the end of the entry. TLDR for people that have ADHD and don't want to listen to this long story. I had a dream about train cities that stopped at stations that were also cities. It was so intricate and lore-filled, and I still can't believe it's a dream, or several dreams to this day. And I wanted to provide a summary myself because I just found this one fascinating. Like he said, the lore in this dream, there's so much so much going on, and there's so many different avenues and nuances to these dreams. It's almost like a mini saga or episodic event, and I've had these myself with the tower dream and the endless small dreams and stuff. Almost like a reoccurring kind of dream that just kind of happens. Almost like a crazy show. And the thing that fascinated me most was his details of the trains, and about how they were so large that they were basically like miniature cities. And the stations themselves were vast and massive. Or basically like they were cities, but they were stations that the trains stopped at. Almost like a station city in a way. And just about all of the like commerce and all of the industry that happens throughout these areas, and the wars that happened. It's almost like a very detailed like world building dream that the user or this person was talking about in his dream. But just like the first like 2 or 3-ish dreams, just like the world building and the lore and all of this that builds up to the war in the third dream, or the fourth technically, but the last dream that he or she talked about was the war scene, and you know, the trying to get to the mountain range while the enemy ships were bearing down on them, and basically ending in a cliffhanger and their ship gets struck. And so it's a very interesting dream, and I really enjoy reading this one. I asked him if I could put it on my channel, because it's just a fascinating dream. And I like reading other people's dreams. I like reading my own, but I also love reading other people's, because it gives me insight on what they dream, and like what they experience in their own dreams and stuff. But I'm just going to leave this one here. I hope you enjoyed this one, because this one's fairly long. And I will see you next time. Thank you for listening. You have a good day. Hello, dear viewer or viewers. I'm back again with another dream entry ASMR. Okay, so this one is by user LabWinch515 on Reddit. I had a baby last night. Well, I had a dream that I had a baby, to be precise. I'm a single, over 1 year celibate, 27-year-old female, so this was a really weird dream, to be honest. First, I was just admiring watching the baby while it was laying down. While it was laying down. Kind of detached at this point, until I realized a few minutes later that it was my baby. I kept going back to look at it, and then leaving, getting distracted, doing something else. Also, my mom was in the dream, even though she's dead. It was kind of nice to see her, but usually when I see her in a dream, I immediately know it's a dream, and I wake up. But this time was the first in a while, and I stayed fast asleep. Then at some point, I realized I didn't know the gender of the baby, and I wanted to know. So I pulled back the swaddle and found his little baby male parts. Then I noticed there was something else known there, like a long skinny piece of flesh that stuck up, and I'm not sure why my brain chose to emphasize it. It made me think, how soon after one gives birth does one check their newborn's genitals? I feel like after having this dream, it's going to be the first thing I check when my kid comes out. it was kind of cool having a dream baby. I do want a baby in real life, but I would prefer to be married and settled first. At one point, while I was looking down at him, I thought about how I would have to remove my nipple rings to breastfeed. And then I thought, who the hell is the father? Since I've been celibate a while, I think that got me closer to waking up. But it still took a lot longer than what I would have expected given the situation. Another question. I somewhat recently quit coffee in an attempt to improve my cortisol levels. Am I dreaming deeper now, with better sleep? The last few mornings, I had a ton of eye crust. I feel so disoriented today because lately I've been dreaming much. Not been dreaming much, but last night felt really real, even though there were so many signs that it wasn't. To answer your question, I don't have a straight answer for that, but I have done this to experiment, and I have quit energy, like anything with like caffeine and stuff, just to see what would happen. I did this in the past a few times, and I quit drinking coffee and like anything with energy, like even pop, and just drink like water and stuff. And I've noticed that I feel, once I get over the initial phases of like irritability and like get over like the need to have caffeine, I get over that groggy feeling, because I've noticed when I stop drinking caffeine or even coffee or something for a while, I'll feel extremely groggy and I'll feel like irritable and I'll feel like very just tired all throughout the day. But I've noticed something interesting is when I go without it long enough, it's almost as if my body recalibrates, and just it's kind of like my energy levels balance out in a way. And I feel like, scientifically, what's happening is you're chemically altering your energy levels with artificial caffeine and stuff, and drinks with caffeine. And your body becomes accustomed to that over time. But when you stop for a while, your body, even though you'll have like unpleasant, like being irritable and, like some unpleasant, drowsy feelings, even though it's nothing like, going off of hard drugs or anything, but it's still unpleasant. Once you get through that initial withdrawal period of a few days, it's like your body recalibrates or rebalances out, and you're left with the normality or the normal energy levels that your body produces. So in short, to answer your question, I don't really have a straight answer for that, but I believe that what you're experiencing was the withdrawal symptoms of not having caffeine. So maybe you were feeling extra drowsy at that point, so maybe your body was more sleepy than usual. So when you went to dream, you had deeper dreams and stuff, and your body just stayed asleep in deeper states of sleep because you didn't have that caffeine in your system. And I've experienced this myself. I've went through this similar thing where when I went off caffeine for a while, that I usually had deeper sleeps. Maybe I should do that again because I feel like I'm drinking a lot of coffee and a lot of caffeinated drinks lately. So maybe I should slow down. But yeah, this is a very interesting dream. Just about the baby and stuff, and I'm not a female or a girl, so I've never had this kind of dream. So I wouldn't know. But it's just fascinating, just hearing somebody else's perspective on a dream like this. about how the great question in the dream is like, who the hell's the father? And it's funny you mentioned that because it's like that would be the question in your mind where you would wake up. You would wake up from the dream because it's like, who is the father? Like why isn't he here? What's going on here? Why is this baby here? But yeah. So, anyways, it was a good dream. Um, yeah, I don't really have too much more to add to that, but thank you for listening, and you have a great day. Hello, dear viewers. I had another dream here that was about like a vivid prison escape, but when I went to go into it, it's almost like they locked it or something, so I can't even get in to look at it. I asked them for permission, but they never said anything or even got back to me, so maybe it's just too personal of a dream and they didn't want to share it, and that's okay. So I'll move on to the next one here that I have. It's probably the last one for today. Twin Ghost Rules, written by user Roseed29. This dream I had was two parts in one. The first part of the dream, from what I remember, is that I was shopping for a gift for an ex-friend that I don't talk to anymore, and I was with a group too, with some people that I didn't like either, which was weird. And the store looked like Costco warehouse type, but it had a bunch more stuff, and I remember being with a guy from, I knew him, but I couldn't remember his face. We were trying to split the gift or something like that. Anyways, I don't know if it was before or after, but I remember seeing these twin girls appear sort of at the store too. I think I was trying to help because they were like murdered or being trapped with something. But the only reason why I know it was two separate dreams was because the girls looked different and because the first part took place inside a house and the second part took place outside like a lake house with a pool. My boyfriend was part of one of the dreams, and so was his dad and his girlfriend for some reason. They ended up helping and got rid of the thing that was trying to get the girls. Title is, I don't know if they were dead or alive, but we helped either way. The other part of the dream, pretty sure the girls were dead, and I remember trying to speak to them, and they somehow ended up showing me like a vision of the girls moving into the home with their house. I think I am the one in the vision, and they were sitting on this table, and this guy just appears and sits down, definitely giving creepy vibes, and I'm pretty sure he killed them. I think he worked for the house too, but the guy is just super awkward, and one of the girls senses a weird vibe too because she doesn't like the guy while the other girl is nicer, and that's when I wake up. Okay, a ghost dream last night, and I've had ghost dreams before. Nothing like this, but themes though, because they asked them like any interpretation or feedback or shit. To summarize, it's interesting. Because they're talking about like being in like this warehouse or Costco type. I'm guessing supermarket or something. these two ghost girls. And I guess there's something else after them, and got rid of it. Something else trying to get the girls. And then there's like this other part of the dream. There's this guy, I guess the killer, that killed him maybe. I mean, I'm not very good at interpreting dreams, but it's a fascinating dream. I mean, so I'm guessing maybe it's just like, you know, sometimes dreams can give you like a mini vibe or something. So maybe I watched a lot of movies with like ghosts and like horror and stuff like that. Their mind had conjured up this thing. These two ghost girls. I'm trying to help them find their killer and stuff like that. So maybe that had something to do with it. But I wouldn't worry. I've had ghost dreams before, at least. And I kind of sucks I didn't write them down. Sometimes I get to a point where I'll get busy dreaming and I'll forget to write down certain dreams. And usually within like that first minute of waking up, I can remember most of the dreams. After that, it's almost like I want to call it like I want to call the thing the the sky has this twilight look to it and everything. It's a very eerie dream. I remember just the whole dream being this very eerie vibe. It really spooked me when I woke up. Now that I think about it, it really, like, and I remember having ghost dreams after this one, like, several after this. It just really gave me that really creepy vibe. There's just something about ghost dreams that creep the crap out of me. Like, and maybe it's just, I've always wanted to see a ghost, and I've always, like, if I ever, always tell myself if I ever actually see something, that I wouldn't know what to do. Like, I'd just freeze. But I would be excited because it's just something that you never really see. Like a haunting or something. Because it's most of the time when you see like paranormal shows and stuff, I have that skeptic in me that's just like, well, I mean, they're obviously putting on a show. It's not all real. They're just trying to do this to get views, and they're trying to do this to elicit some sort of suspense. But sometimes you'll get those videos that they've never done a paranormal video in their life, and they post something that they experienced and it was real to them, and those are the creepiest ones because it could very, very well be something that actually happened to them. And so that's what I was trying to get at. I remember in the dream, the girl that I was with turned out to be a ghost. And I remember going back into the house, and I walked down into the kitchen area, and it's almost like it was a hologram of her that appeared. There was nobody there at first, but it's like she just kind of appeared out of nowhere, and like did like the surprised like look. I don't know, the expression she gave me creeped me out, and just with her like appearing out of nowhere, almost like a mist. And I woke up. Like I didn't wake up like terrified or anything. I just woke up like you know how you get startled from something and you just kind of I get those dreams lately where I'll just kind of wake up and I'll just be startled from something that happened in a dream. Sometimes I don't even remember what it was. I just get this really weird vibe. So I guess that's what I was trying to allude to. Just the creepiness, that creepy vibe that ghost dreams give off. And I've had some after that where you just come across the spirit and stuff. And it's like there's this otherworldly being that's just kind of there. And it's just like, this isn't real. Like, but is it real? But anyways, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this here. It's gone on long enough. Yeah, like I said, if you want to put any of your dreams up on the subreddit, I'll put a link on all of these videos that I upload on my channel. Yeah, like I said, if you have any interesting dreams that you've had, go ahead and post them on the subreddit or on the comment section, and I'll try and read them later on your dream. If you enjoyed this, enjoy listening, see you in the next video. Have a good day. Hello. Dear viewers, I'm back again with another dream entry ASMR. So I have a few more here. I know it's hard for me to get back to these videos lately because I got a new job now, and I work long hours, so it's hard for me to get right back to these right away on a frequent basis like I have been in the past. But bear with me. I am still making videos, so I haven't totally dropped off of YouTube. But videos aren't going to be as frequent as they were. But I'm still going to post as much as I can. So anyways, I have a few dreams here saved up on my saved up here. So I have one here. Actually, I have a few here that I've saved on my Reddit thing. And I'll go ahead and I'll read those dreams. So this one is by Allah and Jesus Gay Sex. I keep dreaming of people I knew that are now dead. Growing up, I didn't have parents, so I collected parental figures like Pokemon. One of these was a lonely biker named Berto, who looked like a thicker Captain Jack Sparrow. He always made sure that when I got out of night classes in college, I had a hot plate of food waiting on me. And a couple of months ago, he passed away rather suddenly from cancer. 2 or 3 nights ago, I had a short dream where Berto and I were walking into his living room. We sat down on sofas that made an L in the corner of the room. Berto looked good. He looked healthy. I asked, "How do you like being here?" He responded, "I don't. It's always so rainy here." And I realized something was off about the situation and asked, "Wait a minute. If you're dead, then how am I here?" His response was, "You know, you aren't very far from here yourself." Then I woke up. Every time this happens, the emotions I felt in the dream follow me back to the waking world. When I wake up, I can still feel them touching me for a few seconds. It honestly fucks my mood up for a couple of days. Anyway, I just wanted to share. I didn't know anywhere else to put this. Hope you all had a great weekend and continue to have a great week. Okay, so summarize and give like a little, and it's a short dream, but I just wanted to provide a brief summary and just kind of give my thoughts on this. It's a very interesting dream, and my condolences to your friends and his family and to you. Very sorry to hear he passed away, especially from cancer. And I had some family members that have dealt with this in the past, and it kind of hit close to home when I read this. Kind of personal, but anyways, I thought it was an interesting dream. Just about, meeting him and like this, I would assume his home maybe, and talking with him, sitting on the couch and stuff, and feeling the emotions and stuff in that dream. And then the line that he said You know, you aren't very far from here yourself. That right there gave me cold chills when I first read it, because I was like, wow, that's kind of deep, actually. And it kind of makes me wonder, because I remember watching movies or like hearing like stories of like people who've had near-death experiences and stuff, and they see loved ones in these states and stuff, or like when they have a dream where they see a loved one that has passed on. And I've had these, like, I've had a few of these where some family members of mine that had passed away not long ago, or even years ago, and they'll come back to me in a dream and stuff. And it's like they never left. And I kind of wonder if there's like a connection between our dreams and the afterlife. Like, I often wonder that, like, maybe there is some kind of connection there that can't be comprehended or explained in words. So maybe I don't really know how to interpret this dream other than that. I mean, maybe maybe he's just trying to visit you. He just wanted to say hi one more time in your dreams. And I know I had one of my papa not long ago where he came back in a dream, and it seemed so real, because it's like seeing the version of him before he passed away. And he came to me in one of these dreams, and I talked with him for a bit, and yeah, it was surreal. But anyways, so that was a pretty good one. Yeah. Alright, so I hope you all had a great 4th of July. I'm recording these right after 4th of July, so yesterday I just kind of took a break, and I had the day off yesterday, so I just kind of took a break, and I honestly just wanted to relax at home, because I'd had a long 3 days of work and stuff, and hell, these past few weeks have been very productive, like overly productive, and I feel like I've just been exhausted. I don't know why. I guess work has just been taking it out of me lately, and all this stuff, extra stuff, doing YouTube and stuff like this. I don't know. I just feel drained a bit, but hopefully I'll start feeling a little bit better and start feeling more up to doing things. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this story, and enough of my rambling, and I will see you in the next video. You have a great day. Hello, dear viewer or viewers. Welcome back to another Dream Entry ASMR. Okay, so this one is from Arch XOXO Dream Interpreter. Question mark. Last night I had a semi-eerie dream. I don't remember anything, but nothing bad happened to me. I was staying in a huge mansion that had an elevator. Had a lot of strange people living there. The place was pretty run down and creepy, but my room was nice compared to the other rooms. The only creepy thing is there was tinted windows and doors in the room leading next door, so the next door people could see me from my room, but I could never see them. I remember this freaking me out in my dream. I couldn't see who was on the other side, but I didn't like the fact someone could be watching me. There was a point where I was standing in front of my bed, and something wet kept hitting my forehead. It was blood. I looked up and didn't see anything coming from the ceiling. I changed rooms after this. My new room felt like an interrogation room. I don't remember what happened after this, but I woke up because I heard someone screaming. It didn't sound like it was from my dream though. Thoughts. Has anyone woken up from hearing someone screaming? Does this dream mean anything? To answer your question, I think maybe... And I've had dreams like this where you just get like an eerie feeling and you just wake up startled. And I just think this is just one of those dreams. I don't know if there's really any meaning to gain from this. I mean, I think it's just sounded like it was like a mild nightmare. It just sounded like it's just one of those creepy dreams that left you feeling uneasy. There's something interesting about dreams like that have a subtle, they just have a subtle effect on you or me. They have a subtle effect because the creepy, eerie undertone is it's like a subtle horror. It's like it's hard to describe. It's like a feeling that leaves you feeling uneasy, or like the whole undertone just makes you feel that way. Nothing really has to happen in these dreams. And most of the time, nothing really does, but it's just the ambience or the creepy, eerie undertone is enough to just make you feel unsettled. Sometimes it could be like music in the background, like creepy music in the background that crescendos into this horrifying ambience, and everything in the place you are could be like a dark, dank, like basement that never ends or something, or some kind of creepy labyrinth. And it's like you're expecting something to happen the entire time, but nothing never does. And I think that's one of the creepiest experiences in dreams like that, is that you're expecting something scary to happen. Like you almost want something like that to happen, just so that you can wake up and be like, well, that was a nightmare, but it never happens. And it's like your mind is playing tricks on you, and you're trying to piece together a mystery, but it never gets solved. There's an interesting comment here by Joe Veteran. Are you getting into any New Age stuff? Ouija board, reading, or watching about dark things? I always find that to be an open invitation for dark dreams. On the other side, if I make big strides in my faith where I repent of something, start fasting, praying for someone who is deeply troubled, then I get attacked in my dreams. I also got attacked after listening to Lady Gaga too. I had zero protection even after saying the name of Jesus multiple times. I heard a booming voice saying, "Your music is making you weak." I threw out the CD the next day. I have to like that comment, that was kind of funny. So, yeah, got a good point. Maybe you're just watching a lot of horror movies or something, and things like that will have an impact on one's psyche. Anything really could. Like, you watch a lot of horror or something like that, then you watch a lot of creepy stuff, then yeah, you're gonna have a lot of creepy, horrific dreams. So yeah, that was a fairly short one. Not really much more I can say about that one, but I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Hello, dear viewer or viewers. Welcome back to another Dream Entry ASMR. So this one is written by Master _to 5998. Wow, I don't know what to think. This one's tagged as a nightmare, I guess. Please read. So this will be pretty long because, well, my nightmares was like 7 hours. I kept waking up, and when I go back to sleep, I'd be right back where I left off. I do appreciate any thoughts or interpretations. So I started at my job. I was in the butcher shop, and the meat cutter was making fries. Weird, huh? So anyways, I asked for some chili fries to go, as I don't work there anymore. Then comes another man and tells me the principal and school superintendent is in the hallway. So it just went from butcher shop to school setting as I stepped out the door. I went to lunch with my chili fries that were wrapped up to leave the butcher shop. I sit at a table, and another guy came up and was putting his fingers in my chili fries. So I got up and fought him when I was running down the hall, and the principal asked me if I was lost. I said yeah, because I don't go there. Mind you, I'm 31 years old. So she called security and I took off running. Security called the cops, and the cops chased me to my house. Then things started getting weird. The cops kept coming and coming. Then a dark floating cloud came to my house. I'm guessing it was the devil. It told me to repeat after it, so I guess I said a prayer to the devil. I can't remember what I said, but it sounded like Latin or something foreign. My house turned black and impenetrable. Demons were attacking the cops. More and more came, and the more that came, the bigger my house grew, until it got to the Mexican border. Then here comes God out of the sky and tells me I can block the sun from a certain spot and asks me to stop. The devil makes my house go underground until we pass the point God told me about. Then when it resurfaces, the Lord comes and offers me his hand, like reaching down to me from a cloud. And then the devil on my right side and the Lord on my left. We continue to build my house until the cops give up. After that, I was back in my bedroom and thought I woke up, but I didn't, still dreaming. I keep going on and on to my parents about the voices I can hear. Schizophrenia, I guess. Then I finally wake up in real life, covered in sweat. Heart rate was 108, scared to death. Sorry, I keep yawning. I don't know why. Been doing that a lot lately. That was a very interesting dream. Made me laugh a few times. I don't know why. I guess just the randomness of it. But I apologize if I laughed at your misery there and your nightmare. But I don't know. Sometimes I'll have dreams like that they're quite obviously nightmares, but some really funny shit random funny shit happens in them that'll just make me laugh sadistically. Maybe it's just the dark humor in me. But anyways, so I thought it was an interesting dream, just the fact that I guess you were dreaming about cops chasing you and you're like in the school, and so you're trying to run away from your principal and stuff. And the first funny things was after getting your chili fries from the butcher, and this guy sticks his fingers in them. And and then you guys start fighting, and I guess that's when the principal gets called and stuff like that, and then the cops are chasing you, or security guards first, and then the security guards, like, I guess, call the cops, and the cops are chasing you to your house, and then that whole crazy stuff with the demons starts happening as they fortify your house, and then God's like, no, you can't do that. Then eventually he starts helping. So that's the funny, like, random stuff about dreams, is that sometimes the most random things will just happen out of nowhere. And it's almost comedical, like, when I rewrite certain dreams, and I'll just start laughing because the craziest, most random shit will just happen. And it's like a 180. It, like, goes from 0 to 100, like, one thing will happen, and then the next will happen. It's almost like you get mental whiplash. Yeah. Yeah, there's not really much more I can really say about that one. It's just funny, and it just struck me as funny in certain parts of it. But yeah, not really much more I can say. But yeah, if you like these, give it a like. Comment any dreams you've had down below in the comment section, or go to my subreddit, patches_dream_entries. I've said that like 100 times already in my past videos. I could send the link, which I probably will do again. That seems to be the most direct way to get there. But yeah, if you like this one, just let me know, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. You have a good day. Hello, dear viewer or viewers. Welcome back to another Dream Entry ASMR. Okay, so this one is a pretty interesting one, and it looks like, because I talked with this person, direct_plenty3490 on Reddit, and they gave me a dream. Well, I asked them permission to read it on this channel, and I appreciate that for anybody who wants me to read their dreams. But they gave me a full entry here, because the one that I had asked them for, I guess it wasn't like it was just like basically like a summarization of their dream. So they sent me the full, like a more like full version of it, in their DMs. The blackened lady. This is a little spooky. I dreamt that my family and I moved into a new home, new to us, and we were going about our days, moving in, starting to clear out the attic from the previous owners, who'd left all of their belongings. And I start seeing ghosts. They looked like shadow people, but in my dream I recognized them as ghosts instead. They weren't scary. In fact, they didn't bother my family or the pets, so no biggie. Next, I was organizing my room, putting clothes away, when I saw something in the left side of my closet. It looked like a large plaque made out of red wax. There were rusted nails hammered around the inside edges. One of the nails on the bottom had something round and charred that was also nailed into the plaque. Then I noticed the writing carved into the plaque. I began to read it before the letters became scrambled. It was written by a mother. Her son was wrongfully executed by the electric chair, and she wanted justice. below all of this on the floor, there were melted white tapered candles, and the hardwood was charred so much that there were holes allowing me to see down under the house. But it was pitch black, and I wasn't putting my face anywhere near it. The dream began to fade out. But before I woke up, I heard a child whisper the name, the blackened lady. Sorry for any misspellings. I thought I would remember more from the dream. But it's been 2 or 3 weeks since. Also, what's your... Oh, never mind. But anyways, so... that's an interesting dream. It's another great example of subtle horror. Gives you just enough to give you a creepy ambience, but you never actually experience like a jump scare or anything like that. It just gives you a feeling of unease. It's fascinating that creepy old houses. I have a lot of dreams of these where the setting is like in an old house that's like built like back in like the early 1900s or late 1800s. And usually that's where most of my ghost dreams happen. And like a lot of like creepy stuff, like unsettling, like creepy horror stuff happens. So I mean, you mentioned something in the dream, the blackened lady, and I guess seeing this plaque, which is fascinating because that seems to be one of the things that really directs you, or keeps your attention in this dream. It's a plaque with like this language, I guess, that gets scrambled. And I guess you find out it's like a mom with like her son that was killed wrongfully or something like that. And just like the detail of the plaque, it just gives you like a creepy feeling. It's like an old, like creepy looking plaque, like candles, and it's almost like an altar. It's almost like what you explained. It's like some sort of altar or something. And then like looking down through the floor, I guess, which is like pitch black. But the blackened lady is mentioned. Some child, like I guess, whispered it, which is fascinating because that's all you like hear. You don't see, I guess you never see the blackened lady in the dream, but it's just like mentioned. And that's the thing about subtle horror, is that you don't have to see the monster to be scared. Or you don't have to see the horror to be scared. Just building up the subtle nuances of the dark and eerie ambience is enough to provoke horror, or provoke some sense of like unease, an unsettling feeling. And that's the thing with stuff like that. That fascinates me. It's just that's why I watch ghost videos a lot. That's why I watch like stuff like that a lot. Like, have you ever seen the movie The Sixth Sense? If you haven't, I highly recommend it. I won't talk about anything about it because it is a great movie. The only thing that I will say about the movie is that the ending will throw you off. For those who have seen it, like, you know what I'm talking about. The ending will throw you off. Like, it really surprises you. But but yeah, it's just basically it's just this guy that's like he's like an investigator, and like he looks into like I guess he's an investigator in the movie, but like no, he's not an investigator. He's a therapist, and uh, what's his name? I'm forgetting famous actors' names now for some reason. I don't know why. Bruce, you know, the famous Bruce guy. He plays in it. And then the kid is also another famous like child actor. I can't remember his name either, but he's played on a lot of like 90s movies. He probably still plays in movies today, but he's in it. And so basically the guy is a therapist, and he talks to troubled kids, and this kid ends up being one of his patients. But yeah, eventually, it's found out, or the therapist guy finds out that he's talking to a ghost. Like, this kid is a ghost. Like, he finds out that this kid passed. Maybe the kid didn't pass away. I can't remember exactly what it was. I don't think the kid passed away. I might be wrong, but yeah, a lot of interesting stuff happens in that movie. A lot of stuff about like the afterlife and stuff like that, and about like spirits and stuff. But that it just reminded me of that movie. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for now. I don't really have any more saved up. Let me see how many I've read so far. I think I've read like 4 of them so far. So I'd make like 7 of them, I guess. So that's a pretty decent amount. I mean, I'd probably make like a compilation or something out of all of these, and then yeah, at some point. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments of these dreams and stuff. And if you've had any dreams yourself that are fascinating, or if you found it interesting. And then remember, I have a Reddit. You can post on there. Or, yeah, Reddit thread. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed these, and I will see you in the next video. You have a good day. Thank you for watching.